Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Let's Get Technical series. I have been away from creating content due to personal reasons for I think a week or two now. And while I cannot promise that I'll be back immediately, I will promise you this that I will try to make as much analysis videos as I possibly can, given some new stuff that's going on in my life, which really is taking away a lot of my attention. So today we have two stock analysis requests. So I thought I will come live and discuss these with you. So the first stock that we are going to look at is going to be Aluminum Limited, and the second one will be Birla Soft. And after doing these two stocks analysis, I will also take you through the chart of Nifty, because last 1 week I have not assessed the market outlook. I have not done the market outlook video last Friday. So we'll take a quick look at Nifty's chart as well. For now, let's get started with the stock analysis request that we have received. All right. So this is the first stock, Maan Aluminum, and what do we have here? I can see that this stock, volume wise, it's not doing that great. Very inconsistent volume, which is, for me personally, it's a warning sign. Because if I look at the raw volume data here, let's just move this to existing pane below, and again, because I want to look at the absolute volumes here. So like I suspected, yes, the volume activity is not very promising, and it's also like super inconsistent, which may be a sign of some manipulation here. Not very happy with that. Stock manipulation, stock price manipulation is a possibility. Let's hide that. Let's look at some more information about the stock right here. All right, what do we have? So this stock, it's a very small stock for sure. Earning reports are coming out, but the stock is taking a pretty heavy beating. All right. Ooh, aluminum and non-energy minerals. Fine. All right. Weekly time frame. What I'm seeing is that sure, price has taken a bit of an upside, but what about the volumes? Not very impressive. Here I can see that the stock was in a bear range or a negative range, right? This point onwards it moved into the positive range, but the structure has started to break down. And why would I say so? Because the last dip that it gave, it broke below the level of 40, which is not very comforting. Here on the daily time frame, again, if you look at the positive and the negative ranges, clearly it is more sensitive. So this is true for whenever you go down time frames, it just becomes more sensitive. Here it was struggling to sustain above the level of 60 and constantly breaking below the level of 40 in this range. So that's the negative range. Here it started respecting the level of 60, level of 40, and started breaking above the level of 60. But here again we can see resistance, a negative divergence and resistance, right? And then it broke down, but it's gone back up again. Now, is this the beginning of a new trend, or is this just like the last song for the stock? That is something that we're going to have to figure out. Now, 75-minute time frame is showing a little bit more clarity in terms of short-term movement. Here I can see that the volume pickup on the upside was pretty strong, right? So this might just be the beginning of a new trend. But what about this? Why has this declined so sharply, and what should your strategy be? We are looking at this stock for short term or long term for Mr. Sanju. Alright, Mr. Sanju has requested the analysis of the stock by filling our stock analysis request form. Now, there was a negative divergence, which was a very clear cut signal. Now, Sanjay, I know that you asked for the stocks analysis few days back. Like I said, not been able to get to it, so I hope you've not purchased the stock already. If I had seen the stock few days back, I would have recommended you not to buy it immediately. Even for now, I will recommend the same thing, that don't buy the stock immediately. Wait for the stock to establish a higher high first. I personally wouldn't go with trading short term or long term in a stock which is so illiquid, which has a very irregular volume profile, because the risk of stock price manipulation is very high usually for stocks that are very small cap penny stocks and have, this is clearly showing some signs of operations going on, which I'm not comfortable with. uh, I think there are much better players out there in the market, in the aluminum, in the metal sector itself. I would recommend you to work or trade with, for short term or long term, in counters that have lesser contingencies, lesser risks. I would not recommend you to trade in this one. However, if I absolutely had to trade, the first thing I would wait for would be the formation of a higher high. Since the stock is in a short term downtrend here, I would not touch it yet. I would monitor the stock by placing alerts at the most recent high, which here I can see is around the level of 171, and the low. And every time either the high or the low gets triggered, I would accordingly adjust my strategy. So here, if it establishes a higher high, a 15-minute time frame is not very effective for any kind of decision making here because of the circuits. Even 75-minute is broken, but it has some credibility, I would say, with respect to this stock, because the daily time frame has established a new bull range. Right here, if the 75-minute time frame respectfully goes back above the level of 40 on RSI, and so this is the RSI 25 period, by the way. If it goes above the level of 40 and continues to tread upward, then I would use whatever low it forges here as my stop loss and maybe make a position, right? So that would be my analysis. For long term, I wouldn't comment on this stock because I'm not aware of this stock's long term or fundamentals, to be honest. The next request that we have is for Birla Soft by Aditya. And Aditya is asking whether the stock is good for accumulation right now. He has a short term view on the stock. He is looking for the analysis for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Now, mind you that the IT sector has been in correction. But Birla Soft, if you look at the past trends, it's a super trend stock, which means it gets into a trend and it really keeps moving in one direction, which means that whether it is trending upward or downward, the trends can be long lasting and can extend significantly. So the previous bull trend that the stock gave lasted for around 240% and 1 year. So within 1 year time, the stock went up 2x, and now since 24 of February, it has been in correction and it has already declined 38%. But again, the underlying trend of the stock continues to remain pretty bullish. So the upward trends, I would say, are clearer, better refined than the downward trends, and they have a lot of movement, a lot of jitters. Looking at the short term analysis now, because Aditya has requested for 3 to 4 weeks of outlook, we are looking at very short term. I can see that this stock had a base or a low formation or a low here close to the level of around 550, which was basically 38.2% of the previous uptrend that we just marked out, right? So this 38.2% retracement level has been retested recently. Now, what is very interesting to me is that every time the stock is coming close to this 38.2% retracement level, the 75-minute time frame is showing RSI positive divergence. So the last time the RSI 25 period of the 75-minute time frame, you can see here, broke below this level of 30. Now this breaking below the level of 30 was an indication that hey, the weakness might not be completely rooted out of the stock yet. However, because of the positive divergence, we can see that it gave a rally right here. So it gave a rally right here. Now it has declined all the way, come back to retest the same level, and look at what it has done. It has again created a positive divergence here. This time the structural integrity has been maintained. And what do I mean by that? That even though the price has established a lower low, the RSI this time did not break below the level of 30, which is an indication to us that strength might be coming back to Birla Soft. I personally am a big fan of this company, this stock, and I think it's a very attractive investment option more than short-term swing trading. I think it's a very attractive investment option. But even for short-term swing trading, if you want to, you can participate here. But you need to wait for a little bit of confirmation. What is the kind of confirmation that I'm talking about? Now, since the stock has given a positive divergence on the 75-minute time frame and on the 15-minute time frame, now this is called the process or the phenomena of eclipsing, because the stock has given positive divergence on both 75-minute time frame right here and 15-minute time frame right here, right? So it established a 15-minute time frame RSI positive divergence, gave a nice little rally, went and retested the resistance with a 9% move in just a couple of days. Now it has given a pullback after forging what I can call a negative divergence and touched the level of 30 on 15-minute and bounced back up. So if you wanted to create a position immediately in Birla Soft, you could do that with a stop loss at the level of 556 and a target around the level of 655. Okay, why 655? Because the last time the RSI positive divergence on the 75-minute time frame was forged, it rallied, and it rallied all the way where to the base of the previous peak. So this was the very previous peak and this was the base. Typically what I have seen is that when the price is in a downward direction, when it's trending downwards, the base of the previous peak acts as a resistance, not the previous peak itself. That would cause the formation of a double top. But the base of that previous peak formation acts as strong resistance. So here it has acted as a resistance or potential target for this RSI positive divergence, right? So now when again a rally is expected because of the positive divergence formation, and I think this is the peak, right? So this peak was forged out of the rally that started from, if I can zoom in a little bit, so there was a little bit of a break here and then the high was forged. So this support becomes the resistance that we are looking at as potential target at the level of 655. Now, why is my stop loss set at 556 here? Basically, I don't want to expose my capital to too much risk, and I don't expect that this breach below the key support of the 38.2% retracement level. I expect this to be a spike movement, not something that is sustainable. But if the price does decline to go further, I think this is a bit of a loss that I don't want to incur. The idea is that if the stock does continue to go below 38.2% again, then maybe we are looking at a bigger correction. So if I can protect my capital a little bit there, I would do that. For those who might be interested in Birla Soft for a long-term investment, I would suggest you wait for the stock to actually establish a proper high above the level of 585 or on the safer side 610, and then move forward with the investment strategy on the next pullback. So let the higher high get established, let the stock go, and then there'll be some pullback. In that pullback you make your entry, right? So that's Birla Soft. Now let's take a quick look at the chart of Nifty like I promised. This is the 75-minute time frame of Nifty. 23,900 has been my key support level. Now, what I really like is that 23,900 has been tested on Nifty, and Nifty has actually established its very first higher high after a very long time, which is great. And along with the testing of the 23,900 level, what I also see is a positive divergence formation on the 75-minute time frames RSI 25 period, and the RSI itself has established a higher high as well. So while the overall trend continues to remain bearish, I think very early signs of a potential reversal in price have started to appear. Now, until and unless the resistance of 24,600, excuse me, until and unless the resistance of 24,600 is not sustainably breached, I continue to swing trade with the intention of booking small profits, right? So 4, 5, 6% profits, and I'm out of the position. The 15-minute time frame, if you see, is giving further refined signals of a potential reversal. How the RSI, that is the momentum indicator, the relative strength index, has now moved into the bull range. What do I mean by that? So initially what was resisting the level of 60 here, you can see, so every tiny jump that the price was witnessing on Nifty was leading the RSI up to the level of 60, but then taking resistance and continuing downward. Now for the first time since 27 September 24, we are actually seeing, so entire October we did not see much activity on the 15-minute time frame where the RSI breached above the level of 60, but come November we are seeing a higher high formation as well as the RSI of the 15-minute time frame heading above the level of 60. Not just that, when the price came back to retest the previous low, so here if you look at this low of 25th October, we can see the RSI was below the level of 30, right? But here, even though the price is at the same level, because the momentum has picked up, the RSI itself is taking support at the level of 40, which is good. My expectation is that 23,900 should hold. Of course, if it doesn't hold, it will automatically lead to my risk management coming into play, which means basically that stop losses are going to get triggered, right? So until and unless 24,600 is not breached on the upside, I am not going to take unnecessary risk with my capital, and at the same time, whatever positions I am creating, I am keeping active stop losses, so that if my view that 23,900 is a very important support gets violated or invalidated, which is to be expected, right? Because it's one of the realities that are possible in the market, I would want my stop losses to get triggered so that my capital can be protected.